What's up, QAA listeners?
The fun games have begun.
I found a way to connect to the internet. I'm sorry, boy. Welcome, listener, to Premium Chapter 168 of the QAnon Anonymous podcast, the Winter Kills Movie Night episode. As always, we are your hosts, Jake Rockatansky,
Julian Fields, and today we have...
Matt Christman. Hey.
There he is.
Hello.
It's not winter where we are, so I feel like we've messed up, because this is clearly a Christmas movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Die Hard and Winter Kills are the best Christmas movies.
Yeah, I placed a call out on Twitter, and I was like, what are some really pilled movies that maybe we should cover? And Matt replied with Winter Kills, which I never heard before.
Yeah, I mean...
And I went and looked at the poster of it, and the poster in and of itself is so melted that I knew that this had been sealed in fate.
It is a jewel of conspiracy theory thought, but also it's almost like an unserious version of JFK or something.
Yeah. Well, it's because it has I think a fundamentally healthier relationship to the Kennedy assassination than JFK does.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, JFK is a much better made film.
Right.
Oliver Stone is a genius at making movies. But its attitude toward the assassination is fundamentally juvenile, which makes sense because Oliver Stone was a kid when Kennedy was assassinated.
Right.
And it imprinted on him at that point. This movie is based on a novel by Richard Condon, the author of The Manchurian Candidate, who was a grown-ass man when Kennedy was assassinated. And so it has like a adult attitude towards like the real implications of the Kennedy assassination.
It's profoundly cynical, I think,
Yes.
about a lot of that. I mean, at every turn where you want to kind of maybe feel that heroic thing that comes off of what's the actor in JFK?
Costner.
Yeah, that comes off.
Yeah, like
Costner's
his
like
pursuit,
heroic.
He's a knight errant. He's out there. He's jousting against the deep state, and it's a meaningful. This is the important thing. JFK really proposes that this is a meaningful battle. That like if we knew the truth, something would be different.
Whereas this one, it's like every time you take off the mask, there's
another
mask.
There's another mask.
I love it.
So usually, I do a little background on the film's production. Who wrote it, who directed it, how much it cost.
I was like, oh man, I can't wait. I can't wait till they look this stuff up.
How much it made, that sort of thing. And when I went to research Winter Kills, the 1979 dark comedy, I found that it is, without a doubt, the strangest production story we have ever covered on the podcast, period, of all time. So it's written and directed by a guy named William Riker. I did not recognize any of his movies, but I did recognize him from some acting work he did later in life. He was in The Client, the adaptation of the John Grisham novel.
Did not know
starring
that.
Brad Renfro.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. He was in My Own Private Idaho and a handful of other TV shows. He strikes me as kind of a kook. I found a YouTube video of him from June of 2020 posted to his channel where he attempts to summon the ghost of Howard Hughes to rid the White House of Donald Trump. I swear to God.
That's amazing.
What is he going to strafe it in a plane? What's the plan here?
Basically,
is he
he's
going to wash the White House's hands until they bleed?
I've heard that playing the voice of Howard Hughes summons his spirit.
Ancient industrialists are gods. We should be worshiping them and trying to bring them back to life and sacrificing stuff
If
to them.
he came back to life, he would absolutely banish Trump from the White House and install Mitt Romney because of his absolutely fetishistic love of Mormons.
Oh,
it's like,
God.
that's the thing we need. We need some Mormon blood in the White House, like in my veins.
Did he manage to convert, or was it just like admiration?
It was admiration. All of his top, once he went like Bughouse, all of his top aides were Mormon. He got blood transfusions from Mormons.
What, because it's
the
better
purest,
quality?
the purest
Yes.
blood.
Yes.
So Winter Kills has an all-star cast. You got a very young Jeff Bridges.
He looks like almost like Val Kilmer in this movie.
Yeah,
that's good.
How old is he? How old is he
He's
in this
film? He's like in his early 20s.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
Smooth.
Little baby.
Smooth. I mean, did he have to shave to achieve that? I gotta
very
wonder.
Smooth. Yeah, he was very smooth
smooth
throughout
boy.
the film.
He was the smoothest boy.
And the curtains are always open.
Always open to expose the smoothness. That's not CGI. That's real Bridges.
That's real. That's a real chest and stomach of a real man.
Back when they used to use squibs in the sex scene, you'd bust and they'd have a little explosion of cum go off.
You've also got Anthony Perkins from Psycho. You've got John Huston, who is a prolific writer and director. He did Maltese Falcon, African Queen, Misfits, Hollywood classics. He's also the father of Angelica Houston. You even have a cameo from Elizabeth Taylor. I have zero idea how they got all these people for this movie, especially when you hear about the production.
Weren't you saying that she's like the only one who got paid?
She was basically the only cast member who got paid because she wasn't gonna step on the set unless it was already in her bank account.
So Bridges was not like a name. A lot of these people got, I don't know, I mean, or was he already kind of big?
He was like he'd been in some stuff. He was like a star.
So do you think he just was like, we got to do this? We got to expose the deep
like
state?
a lot of the people cast specifically were like, they thought it was important. They thought it was an important movie, and it was worth sacrificing to get out.
As Matt said earlier, the movie's based on a Richard Condon book who wrote Manchurian Candidate and cost $6.5 million to make. It was produced by Robert Sterling and Leonard Goldberg, who had amassed a fortune as marijuana dealers.
Nice.
Their previous producing endeavor was bringing the softcore porn series Emmanuel from France to the United
God, are
States.
you kidding me, dude?
Yes.
Dude, there's
Sylvia
another
Cristal.
Yes.
There's another incredible French connection then, because Maurice Jarre made the soundtrack to this, and he's the dad of like the legend of how, or like electronic music and kind of early dance music.
No way.
Jean-Michel Jarre, who did like Oxygen and all that shit. But apparently his dad got pissed at him and cut him off. And I have to say the soundtrack was fun.
And also, going back to the cast, a absolutely baffling and out of this world cameo by Toshiro Mifune.
I know. The cast has said that they got paid for their acting work by going to a hotel room where they would receive envelopes stuffed with small worn bills. One of the producers, Leonard Goldberg, was murdered during the production of the movie.
Yeah.
He was murdered. They think maybe by the mafia.
Yeah, because he was probably in debt to some people. Yeah, they found him like tied to a chair, execution style, shot to the head on his birthday.
This was during the production of the movie, if Wikipedia is to be believed.
Yeah, and if you haven't watched it, like there's a lot of mafia stuff in the movie.
Yeah, the cash envelopes started drying up, but for some reason, the cast agreed that they would continue working on the movie for free. Eventually, someone snitched to the Actors Union and they shut down the entire production, forcing it to declare bankruptcy.
The only movie at that point to ever do so. Like a movie declaring bankruptcy.
Really?
Yeah.
And not in like the Uwe Boll, like you're making money kind of way?
Like as in like this is a bankrupt production. Because usually the funding model kind of precludes that from occurring.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Shortly thereafter, the other producer, Robert Sterling, was sentenced to 40 years in prison for marijuana smuggling.
40 years for weed.
Yeah, but
Fuck.
he was moving weight. These
I
guys
these guys were
were serious.
kingpins.
Yeah, they had,
Flying planes.
yeah.
They did. They became drug lords. They moved Emmanuel from France to the United States.
I have to say that's good
And then they
taste.
were like, let's do this weird fucking pilled like conspiracy satire about the JFK assassination. The only reason Winter Kills ever saw the light of day was that Jeff Bridges and Reichert, the director, made another movie together called The American Success Company, which is ironic, and the distribution rights for that film were enough for them to finish Winter Kills. It was released in 1979 by Embassy Pictures and made just over $1 million at the box office. Less than 1/6 of its budget, a bomb. Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune gave Winter Kills 1 star, writing, Winter Kills rapes the memory of President John F. Kennedy while giving his late father a few dozen kicks in the head, too. It revels in its every degrading scene. One feels a little less clean just having seen this picture.
Hell yeah. That's a freaking review.
You have been listening to a sample of a premium episode of QAnon Anonymous.
We don't run any advertising on the show, and we'd like to keep it that way.
For $5 a month, you'll get access to this episode, a new one each week, and our entire library of premium episodes.
So head on over to patreon.com/QAnon Anonymous and subscribe.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I love you.
Jake loves you.